Cool. Just once.
Just once. What happens when I do it a few times?
It's just annoying.
But we're talking about floating with or without music. Now, this is actually, I'm surprised we haven't made a video about this yet. This is why we're making one now. Why does this get asked, JP?
People like distractions.
Yeah, a lot of the questions that surround floating really come down to just feeling comfortable actually doing floating. So a big reason that people ask if they should or shouldn't float with music, or if they can float with music. Floating can seem super boring, or it can be on the other side where it can just be really scary or comfortable to initially think of laying in a space by yourself with no distraction whatsoever. Man, I just want a little bit of noise or something to kind of keep me busy, or else I'm just gonna have to lay here with myself. And that's terrifying. Yeah, we'll move on to the next step.
Please.
The next step.
Don't shake your head. Get to work.
So on that note, is floating with music wrong? Floating generally is touted as one of those things that you come and do where you're void of sound and light and other forms of stimuli, where your body can just kind of go into reset mode. I feel most of the time when people are asking to play music, it's generally coming from a sense of like they're not comfortable spending time with themselves yet, or they're not comfortable completely voiding themselves of distraction, and such as this type of distraction. Most people, when they went in and I convinced them not to use music, they actually really enjoyed it. That initial discomfort of it was really just that beginning kind of worry of doing something new. There's definitely people, and I think I'm not going to speak for you, but I think we as a collective group realize that people are going to find their own path and they're going to start wherever they're most comfortable. If you get a lot from floating and you float with music, or you float with lights on, or you float with lights off, or you float with lights off but with music, or without music but lights on, okay, I was rolling. I was like, I don't think this is going to come out correctly. None of them are wrong.
You always said don't float with music so you can get into the zone, kind of get into the theta state zone, aka the zone, just the zone. And what I realized actually after a while when I did float with music a bunch of times is like you still get into that zone. And like when you come out of it, music's playing.
Just let me get in my zone.
It's like going to a restaurant and ordering like a chicken parm and then asking
Chicken
to
parm.
have like hot wasabi smothered all over it.
Yeah.
When you're like, do you just want to try the chicken parm and then maybe try with wasabi after?
Do you want to trust us and then maybe evolve and say, you know what, that wasn't what I wanted. I now want the, what did you say? The wasabi?
The chicken parm with wasabi?
Yeah.
And if
Maybe that's your thing.
If you're the person in the world eating chicken parm with wasabi on it, like,
All the power to you.
you know, you got a thick throat.
No, it's a really good analogy. Like,
Is it? I don't think it is.
no,
but
I
sure.
think, and I think it just speaks to like, there's at times a certain amount of trust you may want to give to that place that you're going to experience. And when we suggest, hey, if you're not super uncomfortable with the idea, maybe try it without any light or sound. That being said, if you want some music or you're not super comfortable being in the dark, throw some lights on. We have little star lights. We can toss some music on if you think you'd be more comfortable. But it's simply suggestions from people who've done this for a while. That is a perfect segment into the next one, which is why floating without music might be beneficial. The body generally responds really nicely to the less stimuli, especially as we, first start experiencing floating. I think it would be fair to say, unless not listening to music creates unnecessary stress response in the body, like you're just really anxious without any distractions and it's your first time floating, then it might be a cool place to start is without listening to music, or starting with music, or starting with sound. But
Yeah, like the basics are you're coming here to get rid of all stimulus.
yeah,
And that includes sound.
Yeah. The other question I had is, have you guys ever listened to music while floating? And I might start it off with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just listen to those hour-long mixes on YouTube, chill step mixes, and I listen to hip-hop albums.
Or Interstellar.
And yeah, it's not a great one. It's kind
At the time, that's
kind
a
of
different.
ominous.
So you would then say there's been times you float without music, and there's been times you float with music.
It's like 97% of the time I float without music, and then when I want
A
to have
little
music
chunk.
in there, I'll turn
Just
music
toss
on
it in.
sometimes. And it's just because I feel like it at the time.
Yeah.
It's not to distract me from something else.
And I think that's a big key. Yeah. It's not to distract, it's to enhance or to experiment.
Yeah.
And it's not like you listen to music when you first started floating and then you progressively stopped listening to music.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're not doing it as a crutch or anything like that.
Like I did that with earplugs, but it's because I
Yeah.
can't swim and I had weird feelings about it.
And then my answer is yes, I've listened to music while floating. I can probably count on one hand the amount of times that I have listened to music or something.
When you look at your hand, you have like 2 fingers.
Just no fingers.
Or
just-
like 45 fingers.
yeah, or a million fingers on my hand.
Anyways, gotta wrap it up. So 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's all good. That was today's question. Hope you got something from it. If you have any follow-up questions or things to add or interesting things that you took away from it or your own experiences, leave them in the comments, as well as hit us up if you had any other questions you'd like us to answer. And besides that, we'll see you guys in the next video.